Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day. Guys, we have this dragon tournament right now going on where we can get a free prism summon for the current prism pool. And in case you haven't watched my prism shard pool video, go ahead and check it out in the description below. And yeah, so you can get this free prism summon right here by farming the dragon dungeon by using only champions from the High Elves faction. Now, there are a few ways to do this, and I tried to do it the most efficient way possible. That means with food champions, and this is what I have to use, right, to get to stage 10 on Dragon Heart 10. So, just in case you're wondering why I am farming stage 10, basically because we have a free X on speed artifacts, right? And if I can farm stage 10 and still level food at the same time, I will do that because it gives me better chances at better gear, mythical artifacts, and theoretically a piece from that would change my account, right? So for my account, if I would farm normal 20, the chance that I get a piece that would upgrade my account is very, very, very low. Like almost impossible unless it's a 6-star legendary where I get a quad roll. Then it's an upgrade. So that's why, for me personally, Heart 10 is the way to go. And this is how I am able to do it. Now, I know you see Galatier here, but he's not really necessary if you have the right stats and the right gear. The only reason he's in here for me personally is because I can't build my Othorion good enough so he stays alive and deals enough damage. He's not fast enough. He doesn't have enough resistance. And we're gonna go over the gear in a second, and then I'm gonna explain you why. So theoretically, if you have, let's say, a 5-star blessing and better artifacts than me, better stats, and maybe more area bonuses, I think you can solo this with Othorion. I wasn't able to test it because I don't have access to a Othorion with a higher soul, but maybe you do. And if you have a high blessing on your Othorion, maybe you can copy this build, make it better even than how I built mine, and maybe you can solo this stage. But yeah, so let's jump right into it. Basically, I have 3 food champions in here, right? And I built my Othorion in a Slayer set, and that allows him to take many, many, many more turns, right? He gets a turn meter boost every time he hits an enemy with an AoE attack, and that just results him into do as much damage as needed to get rid of the waves. As you might have noticed, I turned off the revive from Galatier because that just saves time. Othorion is not gonna die here on the waves. And I even tried it without Galatier. He would also solo those waves. That was not the issue. The issue was the boss. I can't get my Othorion fast enough so he survives the dragon. So once he gets stunned, which will definitely happen without Galatier, he would die, right? Because he's not fast enough to get another turn and heal back up. That's pretty much the only reason why I have to bring in a carry. And this could be anybody, right? This could be anybody that heals or, gives some form of survivability to Othorion that, supports him a little bit so he doesn't die, basically. And there's not much that is, needed for Othorion to survive. It's just a little bit. Obviously, Galatier is one of the best revivers, and it looks weird if I use him here, but at the same time, I know that you can do it with other ones. I think the biggest thing that Othorion does here that helps is the decrease attack. That really helps, and the block buffs, because the dragon is going to put up the attack up buff, So if you can block that, that helps a lot, right? And then he's also decreasing the attack. Now, there are a few things that you have to consider regarding the masteries of Othorion. And yeah, let's go over the gear, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So, Wallmaster Othorion has all AoE attacks. And that is why he's so good, right? He has the AoE A1, and this already fills this champion's turn meter by 5% for each living enemy after the attack. So if you have a wave of 5 enemies, that's already 25% turn meter. Now on the boss it doesn't help that much, but on the waves it does. And this is the big attack, right? The A2, 3 turn cooldown, attacks 2 times, so that's 2 enemy max HP hits, and each hit has a chance, or the first hit has a 100% chance to place block buffs, and the second one has a 100% chance to place decrease attack. Now this fills also the turn meter by 5%, right? So he has that naturally in his kit. The cool thing is though that he has this skill which grants him an extra turn and increase speed and increase attack and increase accuracy. That means you can theoretically lower his accuracy because he's buffing himself with that, right? And then he has this passive. Every time he kills an enemy, he can increase his max HP by 20%, which stacks up to 50k, right? That's the maximum. He can increase his max HP, and that, you know, gives him also more survivability and makes him a little bit more tanky. Now, if I would have a blessing, right, you could theoretically go with Crushing Rend, or even with Nature's Wrath if you have a lower blessing. I think with a 5 or 6 star, maybe just a 6 star, I would go with Crushing Rend. And if not Crushing Rend, then I would use Nature's Wrath just to boost his damage a little bit. Now let's go over the necessary masteries here. I mean, Life Drinker is that one blessing that would maybe make sure he survives, right? Because every time he drops below 50% HP, which he stacks up anyway, so his HP pool will reach like 90, 100k, depends on your HP that you have, right? So every time he drops below 50%, he can heal back up, and with a max HP hit, he can, he will heal a lot and stay above 50%, and be at like 70, 80. So the max HP hit really has a nice synergy with this Life Drinker mastery. And that one is really important. Now I do have a rare relic on him, which just gives him additional accuracy, which he probably doesn't need. So in theory, you could give him a Cat's Gaze or something. But I don't want to swap, relics like this left and right and then use up all my star stones. So I just gave him whatever I can, right? Just to boost up his stats a little bit. And yeah, so he's in a 9-piece Slayer set, which definitely speeds up the run. I don't think it is necessary. I think a 6-piece bonus is necessary for the ignore defense, so the attacks are strong enough. The 4-piece set bonus also helps so much. So he's increasing his turn meter with the attacks, and then he's increasing the turn meter with this 4-piece bonus. So every time he attacks, he gets 10%, right? 10% turn meter. And like I said, the 9-piece bonus just speeds up the whole run because he's dealing additional AoE damage based on the damage that he's dealing with those AoE skills. So yeah, here are the stats. Dragon's Lair area bonuses. I do have the ignore defense, which just speeds up the whole run, and I think they're necessary if you want to try to solo this. So he has 40k HP, 3.9k attack, 265 speed, and that is also another thing you need. Let me actually pull the stats up that you need for this stage. All right, so here you can see it. The dragon is pretty fast, 250 speed. Also, the resistance of the dragon is at 320. That means you want to have at least 345 accuracy, which you don't need really, because you can theoretically have like 275, something like that. And then, with the increased accuracy buff, which he is self-buffing, or you could go even lower than that, like 250, right? If you have 250, 50% of 250 is 125. That would bring you to like 375, which is more than enough what you need, right? So if you have 250 accuracy, that should be totally fine, because with the team setup that you're setting up, the AI, he should self-buff every time before he uses the A2, basically. So yeah, 345 accuracy is what we need, right? So I could actually lower that in my build, but I'm just limited to the amount of Slayer pieces I have. Then the accuracy of the dragon is at 330. That means we need at least 435 resistance to resist the poison debuffs, which is very important for this dungeon, right? If you want to solo it. And as you can see, my resistance is at 366, even with area bonuses. I could up that a little bit, but I'm out of arena crests. I've been slacking in live arena a little bit, so yeah, I haven't maxed out those area bonuses yet. But with the resistance aura from Galathier, that would take me to 446, right? Which is right where I want to be, right? So that makes it a little bit easier for me. Not only is he healing him, carrying him, and keeping him alive, I also benefit from the aura. But if you can hit those stats, if you have a 5-star soul on him, you can probably do it. And if you have some good Slayer pieces, then you can probably do it. So yeah, I tried it on stage 20 normal, right? He can easily solo that. Now the other thing is, if you have a soul, right, he will also get less damage in hard dungeons. That is something not everybody knows. Here you can see it. So every hard dungeon boss has a passive where the damage is decreased by the boss, that is inflicted by the boss for each awakening level on the target champion. So if you have a 5-star soul or a 6-star soul, you will have 20% damage mitigation or 25% damage mitigation on the boss, which is a lot, right? And that will also help you to survive. But not only is the damage decreased that you get, also your damage is increased that you are doing. So that is something you always have to keep in mind when you go into hard dungeons. Blessings really do improve your survivability and also the damage you are doing. Now for stage 20, I'm just going to do this without a setup, and then we're going to talk about hard 10. You can just throw him in, basically. I think the Slayer set would be a total overkill here. I don't think you necessarily need it. Maybe the 4-piece bonus, so he takes enough turns, but as you can see, he's just easily deleting those waves without a problem with those stats, right? Also, I have a 20% def ignore bonus, area bonus. Then he has 30% def ignore from the set. So that's, a lot of damage he deals here, right? But stage 20 shouldn't be that hard to do. Plenty of champions can do this. He's just a very good one to run here. Obviously, not many can solo it, but you can easily get a team of 5 high elves and do this on stage 20. But he can solo it, right? But as I said, I don't think you need a Slayer set here for him. Now for hard 10, I have a setup, so I blocked the revive from Galathier because I don't want him to revive all the food champions, and then the run takes longer. Othorion won't die anyway, right? Because he's stacking up HP. If he drops below 50%, he's going to heal up by himself, and also Galathier can heal with his A2. So I don't want Galathier to swap forms, I don't want him to revive, and that's pretty much it. Now for Othorion, I always prioritize the A2, so that way he can cycle it back more often, because if he uses the A2, you know, the skill is going to be on a 3-turn cooldown. Then he's going to use the A3 and basically decrease this skill by 1 turn as well, right? So it's going to be on a 2-turn cooldown. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to do this, get the free Prism Summon, and yeah, hopefully you guys will grab that one too, and hopefully that will give you whatever you want out of this pool. Yeah, I think there's nothing more to say. Let me know in the comments below if you have an Othorion, maybe with a higher blessing. Can you do this build? Maybe you can also just solo stage 20 with him without a Slayer set. I'm not quite sure, but I don't see why not. If you have enough survivability, enough resistance to resist the debuffs, and a high enough HP pool, I'm pretty sure you can do it. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button. It really goes a long way. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more raid content. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here. And see you in the next one.